Hey everyone, I'm Olivia Johnson. I'm 28, a marketing executive, and until recently, I thought I had my life all figured out. But boy, was I wrong. I've always been close to my parents, but my grandmother, Beatrice, is a different story. She's had this borderline obsession with my cousin Megan for as long as I can remember. To her, Megan can do no wrong. The other day, I was having coffee with my mom when she dropped some news that left me speechless. Honey, did you hear about Megan's wedding plans? She asked. I rolled my eyes. Let me guess, something else for Grandma to gush over. Mom looked a little uneasy. Well, it's more than that. Your grandmother, she's offered to pay for Megan's destination wedding. In the Maldives? I nearly choked on my coffee. Are you serious? Mom nodded, sympathy in her eyes. I'm afraid so, but there's more? Before she could finish, my phone buzzed. It was a text from Grandma Beatrice herself. I opened it, and my jaw dropped. A courthouse ceremony should be enough for your wedding, Olivia. No need for unnecessary expenses, it read. I showed the text to Mom, my hands shaking. Can you believe this? She sighed deeply. I'm so sorry, sweetie. I don't know what's gotten into her. I was fuming. It's always been like this, Mom. Megan gets the world, and I get leftovers. As if on cue, my phone rang again. Aunt Karen, Megan's mom. I hesitated before answering. Hello? Oh, Olivia darling, isn't Megan's wedding going to be wonderful? I'm so thrilled for her. Aunt Karen's tone was dripping with smugness. I gritted my teeth. Yeah, Aunt Karen, thrilling. Oh, and I heard about your courthouse plans. How quaint, she added, her voice oozing with fake kindness. I'm sure it'll be nice. I couldn't stand it. Thanks for your concern, Aunt Karen. I've got to go. I hung up and turned to Mom, frustrated beyond words. I can't do this anymore. I'm tired of being treated like I'm second class. Mom squeezed my hand. I know, honey, but remember, you have Mark. He loves you for who you are. Ah, Mark, my fiancé, the one bright spot in all this madness. Right then, he walked through the door. Hey, babe, I brought dinner. What's wrong? I looked at him, trying to hold back my tears. We need to talk about our wedding plans. You might want to sit down for this. That night, I couldn't sleep, tossing and turning as my mind raced. By morning, I'd had enough. I was going to confront Grandma Beatrice once and for all. I rehearsed my words during the drive to her house. When I finally arrived, I took a deep breath and knocked. Olivia, what a surprise. Grandma greeted me. We need to talk, I said, walking past her into the living room. She sighed, as if she knew what was coming. This is about the wedding, isn't it? Damn right it is, I snapped. How could you offer to pay for Megan's destination wedding, then tell me a courthouse is sufficient? Now, don't be so dramatic, she waved her hand dismissively. Megan needs the help more than you do. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Are you kidding me? Mark and I are struggling, and you think we don't need help? If you had chosen a more lucrative career, like Megan, she started. I cut her off, furious. My career isn't the issue here. Your blatant favoritism is. Before I could say more, the door swung open. Aunt Karen stormed in, Megan trailing behind her. How dare you speak to your grandmother like that? Karen screeched. Megan smirked. Jealousy isn't a good look on you, cuz. I turned to them. Live it. Oh, look. Perfect timing. The golden child and her enabler. Karen's face flushed red. You ungrateful little. Ungrateful. For what? For years of being treated like I'm less than Megan. I shot back. Megan stepped forward, her voice dripping with false sweetness. It's not my fault Grandma loves me more. Maybe if you weren't such a disappointment. Something inside me snapped. A disappointment. I've worked my ass off for everything I have, unlike you, who's had everything handed to you on a silver platter. Grandma stood, her voice shaking. That's enough, Olivia. I think you should leave. I stared at her, hurt and anger warring inside me. Gladly. But don't expect me to come crawling back when you realize how toxic this all is. As I stormed out, I heard Aunt Karen consoling Megan. Don't worry, sweetie. We'll make sure your wedding is perfect, unlike some people's. Tears streamed down my face as I got in the car. I called Mark, my voice breaking. Babe, can you meet me at Sarah's? I need you, both of you. 20 minutes later, I was in Sarah's living room, recounting the whole mess. Sarah, my best friend since childhood, was livid. I can't believe them. Something isn't right about all this. Mark pulled me close. Why don't we just elope? Forget about them all. The next day, I plastered on my best fake smile and headed to Megan's place. The second I stepped through the door, she started gushing about her wedding plans. So, I'm thinking a sunset ceremony on the beach, followed by a reception under the stars, she said, beaming. Oh, and you have to see my dress. She shoved her phone in my face, eagerly scrolling through pictures. I feigned interest, nodding and offering the occasional compliment, all while keeping an eye out for the right moment. When Megan excused herself to the bathroom, I quickly grabbed her phone and began snooping. What I found made my blood run cold. There were texts between Megan and Aunt Karen, talking about securing the bag and making sure the old lady doesn't change her mind. But the real shocker was a string of messages with my Uncle Tom about moving money around. They were manipulating Grandma behind the scenes, and it wasn't just about Megan's wedding. It was about siphoning funds. I snapped a few quick photos with my phone just as Megan walked back in. Find anything interesting? She asked, eyeing me suspiciously. I forced a grin. Just admiring your dress again, I lied smoothly. That night, I called Sarah. I need your help, but you can't ask questions. She hesitated. Liv, you know I can't break big confidentiality. I'm not asking you to, just, if you see anything weird in Grandma's accounts, give me a heads up, okay? Please, Sarah. There was a long pause. Finally, she sighed. Fine, but be careful. Over the next few weeks, I played the part of the supportive cousin while secretly gathering more evidence. I accidentally overheard conversations, peeked at documents Megan left lying around, and even followed Uncle Tom one night to a casino. The puzzle pieces were falling into place. Then, one day, Sarah called me. Liv, there's been some unusual activity on your grandma's accounts. Large withdrawals, transfers to offshore accounts. Thanks, Sarah. I owe you. Armed with this information, I decided it was time to confront Uncle Tom. I waited until I knew he'd be alone in his office and cornered him. Uncle Tom, we need to talk about the money you've been stealing from Grandma. His face went pale. I don't know what you're talking about. Cut the crap. I know about the embezzlement, the gambling, and I know Megan and Aunt Karen are blackmailing you. He collapsed into his chair, breaking down and confessing everything. He told me how it had started small, just a few withdrawals to cover debts, until Karen caught wind of it. She threatened to expose him unless he helped funnel money to Megan. Before long, it had spiraled completely out of control. Please, Olivia, he begged, tears in his eyes. Don't turn me in. I'll lose everything. I looked at him coldly. You should have thought of that before you stole from your own mother. As I walked out of his office, my phone buzzed with a new text. The sender was unknown, but attached was a video. Curious, I opened it and gasped. It was Megan, in a very compromising position with none other than Grandma's close friend, Richard. The text that followed read, Thought you might find this interesting. A friend. A grim smile spread across my face. The final piece of the puzzle had just fallen into place. It was time to end this, once and for all. The day of Megan's engagement party arrived, and I was ready. I'd spent weeks meticulously gathering every shred of evidence I could. As I walked into Grandma's lavishly decorated backyard, a wave of nervousness and determination washed over me. Olivia, so glad you could make it, Megan chirped, air kissing my cheek. I forced a smile, wouldn't miss it for the world. As the party got into full swing, I waited for the perfect moment to unleash the truth. I caught Sarah's eye from across the room. She gave me a subtle nod. It was time. I clinked my glass, the sharp sound cutting through the party chatter. Everyone, if I could have your attention, I called out. Megan beamed, clearly loving the spotlight. If only she knew what was coming. I'd like to make a toast to the happy couple, I began. Megan's smile widened. But before I do, I think it's important that we clear the air about a few things. Her smile wavered, uncertainty flickering in her eyes. I turned to face Grandma Beatrice. Grandma, did you know that Uncle Tom has been embezzling money from your accounts? A collective gasp rippled through the crowd. Uncle Tom's face flushed as he started to sweat. That's ridiculous. Aunt Karen snapped, trying to intervene. Olivia, this is just your jealousy talking. Oh, but you knew all about it, didn't you, Aunt Karen? I shot back, my voice steady. In fact, you and Megan have been blackmailing Uncle Tom to keep quiet. I pulled out my phone and played the recording of Uncle Tom's confession. The color drained from Aunt Karen's face as the room fell silent, all eyes now on her and Megan. That's not true. Megan sputtered, her voice trembling. Oh, but it is, I said, turning to Megan's fiancé. And that's not all. Did you know your bride-to-be has been cheating on you? With multiple partners, including one of Grandma's friends. I pressed play on the video I received. The room erupted as the shocking footage played. Megan's fiancé looked as if the ground had been ripped out from under him. His face was pale, eyes wide with disbelief. You, he could barely get the words out. You've been lying to me. Megan lunged at me, but her fiancé held her back. It's over, Megan, he said, his voice breaking. The wedding's off. Megan crumbled, her mascara streaking down her tear-stained face. In the chaos that followed, Grandma Beatrice stumbled, clutching her chest. I can't believe this. Uncle Tom was cornered by furious relatives, demanding explanations. Aunt Karen was in full damage control mode, but it was too late. Megan was sobbing uncontrollably, her perfect world falling apart before her eyes. Grandma approached me, her eyes swimming with tears. Olivia, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. I held up my hand. Save it, Grandma. You might not have known about the money, but you've played favorites for years. That's on you. As I turned to leave, I heard her weakly call out, Please, Olivia, can't we talk about this? I paused at the gate and looked back at the wreckage I'd left behind. Maybe someday, Grandma, I said quietly. But not today. With that, I walked out, leaving the sounds of arguments and tears behind me. Mark was waiting in the car, his expression calm but concerned. How'd it go? He asked as I slid into the passenger seat. I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of years of resentment finally lifting off my shoulders. It's done. Let's go home. As we drove away, I felt lighter than I had in years. The truth was out. Justice had been served. I was finally free from the toxic web of lies my family had spun around me. It wasn't the happy ending I'd once imagined, but it was the ending I needed. And for the first time in a long time, I felt at peace. Now, I have a question for you. If you were in my shoes, would you have exposed your family's lies and betrayals, knowing it could tear everything apart? Or would you have stayed quiet to keep the peace, even if it meant continuing to be treated unfairly? Share your thoughts in the comments below.